Okay, so I will start this video by saying I'm sorry for having to do a voiceover for this whole deal, but the case on my GoPro was actually on backwards and it was covering up all the microphones, and the audio in the actual video just didn't turn out as well as I wanted it to, so I guess this is what I'm going to do. So this video is to show you how I took the front wheels apart on my go-kart. I recommend taking anything apart right before you paint it, just because it's easier to mask and whatever you need to do. It's just easier when it's taken apart. Hopefully this video is quick and you get something out of it, because I couldn't find a video on how to take these apart, so here we go. I'll try my best to make one. So these are called split rim wheels, and basically those bowl looking things are the wheel itself, and the part I just put down is called the hub. The hub has studs on there that stick through both pieces of the wheels, and once you tighten the nut on them, they sandwich together kind of like that, and they create a wheel. And that is basically how split rim wheels work. So since we're breaking the bead off of the wheel, which is the most difficult part here, it's nice to have a little bit of lubrication on there. And to do that, you don't want to use WD-40 or something that could damage the tire. So I just made this soapy water solution out of a plastic water bottle. And I poked a hole in the top, just kind of like a normal squirt bottle, and that was pretty easy to work with. Now squirt that soap and water solution around the tire bead itself. This just, like I said earlier, it lubricates it, so it should be a little bit easier to take off. To squeeze the tire bead off of the rim, I recommend using 2 or 3 big bar clamps. As you can kind of see here, I have 2 big ones and another one that's kind of smaller. I recommend using the big ones just because you can reach the wheel a little bit easier. So in this clip I have the bar clamps squeezing the tire against the tire, and right about now I'm realizing, oh, it's probably a better idea to have one pad on the wheel, and it was. So I recommend placing the pads of the bar clamp, the back one on the edge of the rim itself, then the front one on the edge of the tire as close to the rim as possible. So basically right on the bead. That's what you're wanting to pinch off. So these are split rim wheels that have a hub that holds the pieces of the rim together. Right here I'm taking the hub out. You can do that whenever you want, as long as the inner tube is deflated. Throughout the process of squeezing the bar clamps on, especially before, but throughout the process make sure you deflate the inner tube as much as possible. So here I take out the hub. This is a little bit difficult just because of the weird angles. I should have done this before I started pinching the tire, but now's just as good of time as any, I guess. So here I really started to clamp the clamps on as tight as possible and tried pulling the bead off as much as possible. Make sure to do these at kind of an even amount. You don't want to have one clamped all the way down while the other ones are still loose or not even on there. So once the tire bead is lubricated and the clamps are pretty far down, you can just push on the tire kind of like you see me doing here, and the wheel should just fall apart. So to get the other side off, I put that block of wood there just kind of as a spacer, so that whenever I put this next board on top of it and start clamping it down, there's that board, that it will push the wheel out and it just has something to basically press against. So here it's the same idea as before, but instead of clamping onto the back of the wheel, you just use this piece of wood. So just start clamping it down here, and once it gets pretty tight, you should be able to just give the tire bead an extra push like the other side, and it should just fall right out like that. So that is how you disassemble a split rim wheel. To assemble the wheel, you just basically do a reverse process of what you just did. Start with the side that has the valve on it and put it in there like that. Make sure to feed the valve stem through the wheel first, and then run a little bit of the lubrication through there like that. And I found that it's best if you lift the wheel up a little bit to let the lubrication slide in there. Then you can basically just push it in there with your hands. That bottle really makes it pretty nice. So then again, make sure that the valve stem is seated nicely into the wheel, and once it is, you should be done with that side. So now go to the other one, just same process, a little bit of lubrication, lift it up and then move it around. Because the tire will be collapsed, you won't be able to move it in much. As long as the wheels are touching, you should be okay. Now just put the hub in there like that, and then put all the washers and nuts onto the studs, and then bolt it up. Once the two pieces of the wheels are put back together, you are able to air up the tube in there, and it will set the bead back on the wheel like it normally would be. Again, make sure that the valve stem is seated correctly inside the wheel and it's not at a weird angle or something like that. So just put in a little bit at a time, and then once you're sure that it's seated well, like you can see there, then you can go ahead and give it more air. Once you add the extra air, the bead should set and everything should be good. And those are the basics on using a split rim go-kart wheel.